Hello and welcome back to the channel once again. This is Alan Presents. I am your host or semi-host or co-host or whatever host you want to call it. Alan, this is my other host.
And the other semi-host.
This is the other semi-host. This is Leanne.
Hi.
So as you've already seen from the title card, which you've just seen about 20 seconds ago, and if you watched our reactions to the Summerslam 2022 event, you'll have seen that there is no WWE Premium Live Event for the month of August for 2022 for some reason. We don't know why SummerSlam was not held in August. It's always held in August, always has been since its inception in 1988, but for some reason this year they didn't do it. So to fill the void of 5 weeks without any wrestling content, I decided to show Leanne one of the, probably one of the biggest SummerSlams in history, and that is of SummerSlam 1992, which took place in Wembley Stadium in London, England. The idea behind that was to have a SummerSlam-related video in August, but also with the upcoming Clash at the Castle event happening in Cardiff, Wales, which is the first time a major premium live event has occurred in Britain. I figured it would be good to go back and revisit the SummerSlam 92 event. It's been nearly 30 years. What's the date today? Yeah, so it's nearly 30 years. It's not quite at that point yet. So SummerSlam 92 took place. It recorded on August 29th, 1992, and I believe it aired on the 31st. I'm not entirely 100% back then. Things were done a bit differently with pay-per-views and things like that. I can call them pay-per-views back then because they were pay-per-views back then. And it was also the WWF back then. It was the World Wrestling Federation. So we won't be calling it WWE. If we do reference it, we'll be classing it as a historical event because that is exactly what it is. So whenever we talk about the championships, it'll be the WWF Championship, the WWF Intercontinental, and so forth. So without rambling too much into that, take it away, Leanne.
We're going back in time.
Woo!
SummerSlam 1992. I was 1 year old.
I was 9 years old.
There you go. There's some information about us. Yeah, I mean, Wembley Stadium, London. Mm-hmm. So they opened with video outside the stadium. So obviously people were queuing to go in. There's a lot of children at WWF events back then, particularly this one.
Wrestling back then, kind of like what they've tried to do now, and they've gone for the sort of the PG era. It was very much bright, colourful, muscular characters.
Yeah,
think of it as like
cartoonish.
Comic book or cartoonish. Yeah. So you've got Macho Man, you've got Bret Hart, you've got Randy Savage, you've got all these colourful characters, you know, and they're bigger than life, they're larger than life, you know, the Hulk Hogan's, what you gonna do? And Macho, oh yeah, and that persona is just notched up to 20, you know, and that's exactly what it was, and it's captivating, and all those bright colours, and it's going to sound really bad, but all those bright colours tend to entice children in, because they're like, what are these bright colours, you know? And they
especially early 90s, bright colours were in. Yes. The children that they interviewed or like got statements from before the event, it's like, I know they're in London, but you know, you don't think London kids actually talk like that. It was like they got them off the cast of Oliver Twist or something.
What did you say? What do they do? Go and grab a bunch of urchins?
We grabbed a bunch of urchins from the workhouse.
We're looking forward to WWE, WWF.
My favourite, like, one of the kids. British Bulldog's gonna win whether he wants to or not.
I mean, if he doesn't want to, he just lays on the mat and gets pinned.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to, what's he doing then?
Right?
It's like the kid's clearly trying to say something intelligent. Or, I don't know, I didn't think that one through.
Things like heat of the moment. But then, if that made the cut, how bad were the rest of them?
I like British, what's his name?
The British Hart guy.
The British one.
The British Macho.
I want Bret Hart to win.
Gets stoned.
Get out of here.
Gets his head kicked in. One thing we did sort of, obviously as I said, that at this point I said it was pre-Attitude Era. And we kind of twigged on that at this point, that even I did, sort of growing up as a going into teens at that point, the Attitude Era came along around my teenage years. So it's almost like growing up with the product, and the product grew up with those children who went to see SummerSlam or Royal Rumble or whatever events they were running at the time, you know, WrestleMania, the Survivor Series and so forth. So it is kind of cool to see that these kids would probably have watched the Attitude Era, so then they would have been teenagers watching that, and it was based towards that teenage demographic. So it's almost like WWF at the time when, hey, this is the year, we're going to put a stopgap on this, that's how old we are, and we're going to age with our viewers. And that's pretty cool. I really like that.
The product was made for that specific generation of children. It was great.
Because even like WCW was the same. I mean, Sting, you've seen Sting when he's got all his coloured stuff and his bleach blonde. That was the same era. That was WCW at the time. So.
And then he matured into the
Crow Sting.
Yeah.
That's the Scott Hall idea. The Crow Sting. This Crow's one of his favourite films.
Oh,
Sting's favourite film. So why don't you just do the same sort of thing? Okay, cool.
It's very cool.
They ran with that.
Very, very cool. So the first thing I sort of noticed about this pay-per-view is very little in the way of ads and sponsors. I don't know if there was some cut out of the recording or something.
The only sponsor that they had was IcoPro.
IcoPro. And there was literally two moments when that was mentioned, and very brief. These days, you got sponsorships all over the place.
I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, obviously I was only a child, but I think sponsorships and adverts were very different back then.
Yeah, I think so. There was a lot less in the way of endorsement from companies and things.
IcoPro, if I remember rightly, that was a Vince McMahon product.
Well,
that
probably.
Was a thing he tried making on the side to produce, like, as a protein kind of,
supplement.
That's the word. That's the word, supplement.
So, the show opens with a medieval fanfare. At the time, I was completely baffled. I do get the England is sort of associated with the medieval times because of knights and castles
Kings,
and things.
queens, castles.
It still felt out of place though.
It did, yeah. It did.
It's like, what are these guys wearing? And they got those floppy like beret type hats and poofy arms and doing the little, just like the long trumpets.
Henry VIII's rolling in his grave at that point, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that at Clash at the Castle, if they go for the whole castle. And...
They probably go more Celtic.
Yeah, probably.
I'd imagine, because it's Wales. I can't see them coming in and doing something English, because that would literally be a bad idea.
They get lynched.
They would get booed out of the building. I wouldn't be surprised if people just stood up and turned around and walked out.
Do you think someone's going to brief all of the superstars and say, we are not in England?
You know who's going to do that, right? Drew McIntyre. He's Scottish.
Do not say
he knows
that
the difference.
England.
He knows the difference. He's Scottish. So.
Stuff chucked at you.
Oh yeah, you'll get bottled.
So we had Sir Bobby Heenan.
Sir Bobby Heenan.
The King of England was... Why is he King of England? I didn't get it the whole time.
It's his persona was always, I get adulated everywhere I go. Okay. I'm the best person on this planet. Everyone gives me everything. So in his mind, the character would have been, well, I got knighted by the Queen yesterday.
And now he's
I'm the King of England. So yeah, he was always, but he was... And going through, and I said this about halfway through, I think, that I've forgotten how good Bobby the Brain Heenan and Vince McMahon as a commentating team really were. Yeah. And I miss Bobby Heenan. He was phenomenal. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
He had a wonderful crown. And they did keep referencing it through. Like, it didn't even look like a prop. That could have been a real crown. That was fun. So we had this opening. And, I mean, this whole opening sequence, not long at all. It's like just... really quick,
punchy,
punchy. Just that, and then we go straight into the first match on the card, which is Money Incorporated versus Legion of Doom.
Pop quiz: do you remember the individual names of both teams, including managers? Oh.
So I know Legion of Doom is Animal and Hawk.
Yeah. Bonus points if you get the doll as well.
Oh, I think, did I write down the doll? I didn't. Oh, what was the doll's name?
I still don't know where that doll came from. I don't know.
Ventriloquist dummy.
Rocco.
Rocco, that's the one.
I don't know where Rocco came from.
He was like riding on the front of a motorcycle and then...
Whose motorcycle? Who was the manager?
What's his face? Can't remember his name.
Paul Ellering. Who went on to manage Authors of Pain more recently. So he was their manager.
Oh yeah, I remember. Money Incorporated. I got the $1 Million Man.
Who is what? No. Ted DiBiase.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's like tip of the tongue. And then it's IRS.
Yeah, which stands for... It's not the Inland Revenue System, so don't even try it.
I rate spiders.
Nope. It's Erwin R. Shyster.
Oh, Shyster. Which
Now,
sounds...
Follow-up question. Who is IRS related to?
Are they related to each other?
No. Someone more recently, IRS is their dad.
I'm not sure.
Bo Dallas
Uh-huh.
and Bray Wyatt.
Ah.
That is their father, IRS. That's Mike Rotundo.
Okay. Yeah.
Puck, there we go. Puck was over.
No, I hated it. Oh, I've even written DiBiase down my notes.
Have you?
Is this the finisher? Ah,
That's probably my best DiBiase laugh.
very good. So it was a pretty good match.
Oh, and who was the manager for Money?
Oh,
you should know this one.
Jimmy Hart.
There we go.
It's like, is it Jimmy?
He's pulling double duty on this event, but we'll get into that after.
Yeah, he is. So I feel like I have heard before the story of what was happening with Hart at the time.
I think it was on Dark Side of the Ring, if I remember rightly.
And I know you gave me a brief recap while we were watching the match.
Oh yeah, he's high as balls.
Yeah. And I felt like I didn't really notice that there was a problem until Animal stepped in the ring and just was incredible. And just that contrast.
Animal carried that team in this match.
Because the tag team, I expect at one point where their strength were both almost as good as each other. Or at least sort of complemented each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was lost in this match.
Like, I've seen, like, probably hundreds of Legions of Doom or Road Warrior matches, depending on what sort of company you're watching them in. And Hawk was just as good as Animal.
Yeah.
And you see him in this one, and you're like, something's not right.
So he's not terrible. He's still, like, going.
He got gassed so easy.
Yeah.
There's a part at the end where he didn't look like he didn't know where he was.
Yeah, there was that.
So, when they're driving the bikes down, as you know yourself, because your dad rides bikes, the mufflers get really warm.
Yes.
Okay? So, Hawk inadvertently burned Animal's leg at this entrance. So, obviously, Paul Ellering comes down first, straight down the middle. With Rocco. Hawk and Animal side by side, but Hawk comes over too far to the left. So, Animal pulls up and obviously puts the bike on the kickstand, but he's right by the barrier. So, as he's getting off, his leg touches the muffler and burns part of his boot and trouser leg to his leg.
And he still pulled off
and he's still beast moded it. Absolute legend. I mean, Hawk when he cleaned up and when he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was amazing as well, But Animal definitely carried the team in this one.
Yeah, definitely.
And you could tell the slow paced match as well with the sleeper hold, the constant sleeper hold.
So many sleeper holds. I thought you actually went to sleep properly at one point. Oof. Money Incorporated are pretty good. They don't have the speed that you could see from Animal and that.
They've got it.
They got the smarts. I mean, any Jimmy Hart team's gonna have the smarts. That's what he goes for, isn't it? They're gonna be cheating.
He does manage the nasty boys as well.
Oh well,
so.
yeah. That's a whole different story. Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm not gonna do a signs of the pay-per-view.
No.
Because there wasn't.
Are you going to pick the foam finger of the pay-per-view?
Oh, so many foam fingers, guys. Foam fingers and air horns and...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so much noise. Whistles. There was one sign that I noticed, though, which I will mention, which... It's, when you put a load of words on a sign, and it's meant to be a sentence, but they're, like, in a weird position, so it doesn't quite read like you think it will. So we had LOD, ooh, rush water. Ooh, rush water. So that's my new catchphrase.
Okay, cool.
Do you have anything to add on that match?
One thing I loved of this is the ref was very much getting involved in the participation of everything. I think it's probably because of the state of Hawk at this point. But whenever, like when they had Hawk down and IRS had the sleeper on him, and then Animal comes in and he does something and then TDVRC comes in and the ref turns around and he's like, oh, huh? Just that over the top kind of, huh?
Yeah,
what the?
They were swapping in the corner loads, just and
using the foot to
back a bit
get
and
leverage.
Just, swap around, and the ref like, What just happened?
Yeah, he's great. I love it.
You're not the right guy. So yeah, he was really good.
Both teams, absolute legendary teams.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. Okay, we have then a Ric Flair interview. Woo!
Woo!
Just saying that he was denied the opportunity to regain the championship, and it starts off this whole storyline, or it's obviously from before, but it brings in the storyline of
the build-up,
Mr. Perfect. Is it going to be in someone's corner? But who's it going to be?
For which match?
For the main event.
Yeah, the viewers might not have seen the event. So the Macho Man Randy Savage versus the Ultimate Warrior.
Randy Savage versus Ultimate Warrior. One of them, we are told, will have
the
Mr.
services
Perfect in his corner.
Mm.
Someone sold out. But yeah, so it's that. And then we've got an interview with Virgil before his match with Nailz. What was it? I wrote down a nice quote from him.
Mm-hmm.
Do unto you before you begin to do unto me.
Yeah, that's
I think he was going for like, you sort yourself out before you come after me kind of vibe, but it just went a bit.
So a bit of background on that one. Virgil, and this would never, ever, ever happen today. He, before Money Incorporated was a thing, Ted DiBiase was obviously on his own. He had a bit of a stable on the go.
Yeah.
Virgil was his manslave.
Ooh.
And he was the $1 Million champion. He created his own belt. Wore it on you've probably seen with all the dollar signs with the jewels on it. Virgil would basically go on to fight DiBiase for that and win the match and steal the $1 Million belt, basically. And, it kind of culminated that. And then obviously they kind of went into this, and then he goes on to fight this chap at SummerSlam, and it's like, he kind of faded a lot into obscurity, did Virgil?
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a shame. So Nailz and Virgil.
Nailz.
So Nailz is a...
Talking of obscurity.
And his character's well, not an ex-con, because he's still in his prison
ex-convict.
outfit, isn't
Yeah,
he?
ex-convict.
Why is he still in his prison outfit?
I don't
Has he
know.
not got any other clothes?
I don't know.
Get some more clothes. Get a job, Nailz. So he's just this crazy guy. Basically, he's just come out of prison. He can do anything.
So before this, and they kind of allude to it on the commentary, the one thing about this is the promos are short, they're punchy, they give enough of a recap without having to do a 5-minute segment. And there's no recap segments at all.
There was one.
But it's not a package.
It was one package for the main event.
Well, for the Macho Man Warrior, it wasn't a package, it was just clips.
I'd call that a package.
A package in these days is fully edited with music in it. So that's what I see as a package.
Fair enough.
With the one you're talking about, it's just clips. But you obviously, going back to the Virgil promo, he says, like, Big Boss Man's my friend, Big Boss Man being an actual, a former police officer or a county sheriff, county officer, And they leaned into that, and that was his gimmick, and he always carried around a nightstick, and he would do, like, spinny tricks, for lack of a better term. But Nailz apparently bludgeons Big Boss Man and stole his nightstick. And that's why Virgil's looking for revenge. That's why Nailz is carrying the nightstick.
I see. I wondered where that came from. So, it was a fun match.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be brutal when you've got someone called Nailz with a Z in it.
Yeah.
But in the end, Nailz wins by choking out Virgil.
Yeah.
It wasn't a sleeper hold. You were choking him out, and the ref allowed it.
Yeah.
Just okie dokie. I guess they're a bit more lenient when Nailz is around, because you don't want to get on his bad side.
No, I wouldn't. Jeez.
And then after the finish, Nailz attacks Virgil with the nightstick.
I'm sure at some point after the... Well, I'm not sure. I have to look into it, actually. The Big Boss Man probably would come back and got revenge or whatnot. But I know that Nailz was a bit of a wild card backstage. And he testified against Vince McMahon in the steroid trial. And it basically destroyed the the entire court case, pretty much.
Yeah, so made it too personal.
Yeah, I think so. But then, you know what Vince McMahon said to that? No more nails, pal! Boom! No more nails.
All right. Anything else on that match?
Nope.
Nice. Short and sweet. So then we go to England's own Lord Alfred Hayes. Who's a very posh sounding man.
Yes.
I already like him.
Yes.
So great. He is trying to investigate the whereabouts of Mr. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So he's at Macho Man's door, which is locked, and no one is answering. So he knocks a few times, no one answers, and he basically says, that doesn't mean that he's in there.
Like, how ambiguous could you be?
The investigation continues.
He may or may not be in there.
Find out later. I will continue snooping, see if I can get my lockpick set out. So that's fun. And then we have another interview with Sherri.
Oh, Sherri Martel.
Sherri.
Sensational Sherri.
Sensational Sherri. And this is ahead of the Shawn Michaels match with Rick Martel. And they sort of reveal in that, they probably revealed it before, but it's new to me, that Sherri has requested and been given the stipulation in this match that there will be no hits to the face.
I don't know if it was listed as a stipulation, but both men agreed to it.
I think they mentioned the word stipulation.
Because I think the ref... Oh, but then they didn't start punching each other till after the match, did they? So, yeah, okay.
So
Spoilers.
I guess Sherri she's with Shawn Michaels.
Correct.
She's his valet, I guess.
Valet, concubine.
Person, lady.
Bitch.
And there's been a whole...
In a good sense.
story behind that. Rick Martel at one point came out. There's a whole thing of Shawn and Rick interrupting each other's matches. And at one point Rick came out when Shawn had a match and winked at Sherri, and Sherri winked back. Dun, dun, dun.
It's a really weird wink, because when Rick Martel did it, he used his furthest away eye. Instead of being like the closest one, it was the...
That's so weird.
What?
Huh?
I don't know, that was just a bit weird.
He's winking to someone at the back instead.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Sort of like the timekeeper, he's actually gay, and he's like, hey.
Yeah. So this is quite fun. So Rick Martel comes out. He's a model.
Yeah, Rick the model Martel.
Rick the model Martel. He comes out in tennis gear.
Yeah.
Tennis racket.
Tell you
He's
what,
doing all his fancy.
this is better than that Maximum Male Models junk they're doing now.
It's definitely better than Maximum Male Models. It felt more natural than that. So he does a whole, does some poses with his tennis racket, and that's all good. And then Shawn Michaels comes out with Sherri carrying a full-length mirror. Do they usually do that? Is that just for this one?
No, they don't. There's only one other person I know of that used to do something like that, and it was set up in the ring. It was a cluster of 3 mirrors. There was one there, one there, one there, sort of like an like a stand. Yeah. And it was Lex Luger, the narcissist Lex Luger, and he would come into the ring, take off his robe, and start posing in front of the mirrors, because he's a narcissist. It was Lex Luger, yeah.
He did have on the way down to the ring. Shawn was definitely checking himself out.
Oh, he was that, yeah.
Yeah.
He was absolutely that kind of flamboyant at that point. It's pre-Diesel, pre-DX.
And when they were in the ring, I'm pretty sure Rick Martel was checking himself out as well.
Most likely, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
They're both pretty handsome men. Shawn Michaels looks better without the mullet, but...
Oh, so many mullets.
Oh, so many mullets.
And you did say that
90s.
you think that Rick Martel was the more handsome of the two.
My preference, yeah.
He definitely had a better jawline.
Oh, it's a good jawline, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't... that neither of them are my type, but I appreciate...
You have missed the fact that there was pretty much a full moon out that night as well.
I didn't notice.
Well,
oh, wait.
Sherri.
Not a real moon. She had, like, butler's chaps and a thong, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
or would be classed as a thong in the 90s.
It was all out.
Yeah, as a sort of a young child going into sort of teenage years, that was like, whoa, that's stirring some feelings. Wow.
Oh, it's a kids show, guys. They went through this whole like long thing of Shawn Michaels taking off all his gear, including his butler's chaps. But it was fine. It was a good match. It was fun. Oh, excuse me.
You owe everyone a beer.
No, well, it's just you here, so it's fine.
No, you owe everyone who watches. Anyone who sees this video and bumps into Leanne on the streets, you tell us, SummerSlam 92 video, you owe me a beer.
Yeah, that's fine. If you do that, I will buy you a beer. You can hold me to that.
Or just hit like 3,000 hits.
Just like all the people descend on Swansea.
Oh, great. Tell them where we live.
It's alright, they already know we're going to be Clash at the Castle.
That's in Cardiff. That's like 30 odd miles away.
The beers are going to be expensive there. So, match is pretty good.
Cheap beer only. I don't want to get bankrupt. We'll lose the house.
Where are we? So I sort of didn't write much down until Sherri fainted. I think they were getting a bit too violent with each other.
Well, they were threatening to hit each other, so they both kind of reeled back to hit each other in the face, and she just kind of went, oh, thunk.
Yeah. Fainted. So Shawn Michaels comes out all concerned, and he's like acting as if he's going to give her mouth to mouth, but doesn't.
Yeah, that was
So I'm
weird.
not sure what that says about anything.
Open mouth.
No. And then Rick Martel comes out and starts doing chest compressions. For a start, I've done first aid training.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Neither of them actually checked whether or not she was breathing.
Wake me up when this tanger's done.
So she was definitely breathing, so you don't really do that stuff anyway. And each chest compression, her arms are like flailing up and down. Which is clearly a sign that you should not be doing chest compressions because she's clearly awake. You can break ribs doing those things. Alright, I'm done.
What? Huh?
Bad first aid, guys.
Wow. It's 12 o'clock. What time?
It was fun though, and obviously it's like it's pageantry
yeah.
and like story and everything. So after that, I put Martel does bad compressions. And then, obviously, Shawn doesn't want Martel touching her, and vice versa. So they start brawling, and the ref counts them both out. Match ends. Disqualification, count out. So then Sherri wakes up, looks around a bit, and then faints again.
Yeah, I think they're sort of hammering each other in the walkway, and she just
like,
kind of looks at him and she's like, thump.
Basically, you're meant to be paying attention to me, actually.
Yeah.
They do some more brawling, and then Shawn goes up and picks Sherri up like a fireman's lift and starts walking up. Starts walking up the ramp. Martel comes down and attacks Shawn while he's carrying her, and then picks her up and starts walking.
I mean, to be fair, even though there was no women's wrestling at this period, prior to this in the 80s, there was women wrestling.
Yeah.
And Sherri is a former women's wrestling champion.
Can do it.
Yeah.
But in storyline, it's like, oh, he's holding my lady. Let me hit him so he drops her. And then Shawn attacks Martel, picks her up, carries her up the ramp again. And then Martel comes out. He's gone to the back for a bit, comes back out with a bucket and just chucks a bucket of water over Sherri.
He kind of threatens chucking it at Shawn first.
Yeah,
and he's like,
chucks over her.
Skadoosh!
She's absolutely drenched.
She's livid.
Complaining and whining, and then Shawn and Martel run off to the back with Sherri following.
And then she kind of,
wet.
like a run to the back.
So, yeah, I guess from that, I take that they've decided that she's not worth it. She's just trying to play him against each other. So they're leaving her be. I don't know. Does she go back to Shawn? She probably does.
I don't recall.
Don't you? But yeah, it was quite fun. It's a bit more of I don't know how to explain it, like a pantomime, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, this match was probably the closest thing of that era to the high flying stuff of today as well.
Yeah.
And Shawn Michaels did go on to be a bit of a high flyer, so. When he did it in the Rockers, and then he kind of didn't tone it down so much, but there was less of a playoff with the tag team partner Marty Jannetty and the singles match and whatnot. But this would be the equivalent of something like a Ricochet versus Nakamura or something like that, you know?
Yeah, big stuff. And they're both extremely skilled. And yeah, I mean, it's great stuff.
Cool.
Anything else on that one?
Nope.
Nice. So then we could have another interview. It's the Nasty Boys with Jimmy Hart. Ahead. So there's the tag team championship match next, and they want the tag team championship basically. And Jimmy Hart promises that they will get a title shot.
He wasn't very convincing of that, was he?
No.
We're gonna get a shot at Jimmy. We're gonna get a shot. He's like, yeah, of course you're gonna get a shot, baby. Of course you're gonna get a shot. That's my best Jimmy Hart impersonation.
So
I don't think it's a
funny.
good one, but yeah,
It
the
sounds
Nasty
a bit like
Boys.
Pennywise.
Nasty Boys looking to take someone down to Pity City. Look it up, Pity City.
Weird. Yeah, so WWF Tag Team Championship match.
She got it right. Didn't default to WWE.
That's why I've written it down. WWF. So it's the Beverly Brothers versus the Natural Disasters. Don't pop quiz me, I don't know any of their names.
Oh, you should know the Natural Disasters. They had it written on their outfits.
Oh yeah, Earthquake and Typhoon.
There we go.
Okay,
Do you remember?
I don't know the Beverly Brothers apart from Something Beverly and Something Beverly.
It's Blake and Bo. Blake Beverly and Bo Beverly. Do you remember the name of the manager that came up with them?
The Genius.
And who is he related to? I did say.
I can't remember that. It was ages ago.
Slim to a Slim Jim!
Oh.
That's Macho Man's brother.
They have similar hair.
Yeah. And the voice is a lot deeper, but they've got that same sort of very booming kind of voice. Whereas Randy's is a bit more husky. I can't remember. Lanny Poffo is the Genius. He's very much more of a clean kind of deep voice, kind of almost Shakespearean actor kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in like a waterboard and academic
scholars
robes,
kind of
and he has a metal scroll, and he reads a poem
of his own. He did it himself, most likely. He did used to write poetry. So.
I can't remember what the poem was. It was about the match, I think. Yes.
I know it ended in the Brothers Beverly.
Yes.
That's all I can remember.
Brothers Beverly. Yes. Something about having like the long fuzzy-ish hair and the full like beard and mustache, but with a mortarboard and academic robes is a very strange combination to me. But he does it well.
He did, to be fair. He pulled it off. He used to, when he'd come out in different ones, and there'd be a red and a white one as well that he used to wear. So, but yeah. Continue.
Yes. So I mean, this is the Natural Disasters are big guys.
Oh yeah.
So this is a heavy match, I'm gonna say.
For anyone who's not really familiar with this period of WWF, but might be familiar with WCW a few years later, if I say the word Shockmaster, that's Typhoon. I'm just gonna leave that one there.
That's a fun one. Yeah. I haven't written a whole lot on this one. I mean, it was good. There was big people hitting each other.
I mean, you had two big people and two not so big people, and I felt that the Beverleys did the best tactic they could do by isolating one of them and using underhanded tactics as best they could. You know, choking Typhoon across that rope, the cable, and then standing on it and choking him like that when the rest backs turn, and just basically underhanded tactics.
Was it them that was using the tag rope?
Yeah.
To choke, yeah.
And I think there was one point actually where one of the, I don't know which one's which, one of the Beverly brothers grabbed Typhoon and dragged him into the middle of the ring. Like, Typhoon's a big guy. He's going to weigh like 350, 400 pounds. And he made it look so effortless. It's like, damn, dude.
I mean, you might not be able to pick him up, but dragging him, yep.
We did try it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He tried lifting him up for a slam and then he just kind of fell back and got Typhoon all over him.
Yeah. Backfire is the word.
Oh, yeah.
So, the Genius does interfere by hitting Typhoon across the back with his metal scroll. But Earthquake got in to break the pin, so that didn't result in a finish. And then Earthquake sits on one of the Beverly Brothers.
Well, that's his finishing move. So he does the stamping around, then he bounces off the ropes, and then
made an Earthquake.
It's like a sit-down, I don't know what to call it, sit-down bomb?
Just like a sit-down.
But at a speed and a height, because he jumps into it, and it's like, that could go so wrong so quick. So that just shows how great John Tento was.
Yeah.
Now, he's no longer alive, unfortunately, but...
Yeah. The amount of control that he needs in his legs, the strength he needs in his legs to be able to stop himself from putting full weight. Crazy. So, I mean, there's no way you're kicking out that.
I mean, he went on to WCW, I don't know how many years after this, but he did end up in WCW in Kevin Sullivan's Dungeon of Doom when they were feuding with Hulk Hogan. So he had matches with Hulk Hogan.
Wow. You
know, in WCW. Yeah. That is not something that you go into lighthearted. It's like, well, Hulk Hogan is still at this point on that pedestal.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got John Tenta, aka Earthquake. I can't remember the name. He was like a shark gimmick. And he'd have, I think he was Great White Shark or something stupid like that. WCW done the best names. But he would wear like an outfit which had a shark's mouth on it. And it was, that's what it is. But he had feuds with him and it was like, oh, this is amazing.
Oh,
You know, and it's this recognition that he's literally one of the best big men in the business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and same with Typhoon, or Tugboat he used to be known as.
Yeah.
You know, they're fantastic guys, both of them.
That's good stuff.
I think they deserved a bit more recognition. But,
Yeah.
you know, they're tag champs, you know. They got that, so.
They retained tag team championship in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Genius does get thrown over the top rope.
Oh, I think he got launched.
Yeah, he got launched. He was out of there.
Looked like a bit of a nasty landing as well, so.
Yeah. At least he got involved. Then we have an interview with the Bushwhackers. Now, I didn't know much about the Bushwhackers.
Whoa!
I'd assumed that this was just when they were walking. But they do it all the time.
Do you know what the Bushwhackers used to be known as when they were not in WWF?
No.
The Dingo Warriors. Legit Australians.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Dingo Warriors.
That's how they always talk out the side of their mouths, like.
Yeah.
That takes some facial muscles.
One of the Bushwhackers, I think it's Luke, has one of the quickest eliminations in a Royal Rumble match ever.
Oh wow.
He starts walking down the ring, gets up on the apron, goes in the ring, somebody just literally throws him out the other side and he just walks back down the ramp. It's like, what the hell just happened? And they used to lick people. Well, you saw it, remember the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
He was licking his head and yeah. He used to do it to the kids on the ringside.
Wow.
It's like,
Couldn't
wow.
do that these days.
Oh, hell no.
They're really fun.
Yeah, they're great.
It's a shame that they didn't like have a match.
So they were on a dark match.
Oh, that's what I get you.
And they, obviously for the 30th anniversary, quick sidebar on this one, for the 30th anniversary of this event, Silver Vision are releasing the DVD and Blu-ray of this, or like a reissue of it, with all the dark matches involved.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if they'll promote on the WWE Network, so I might have to pick up a copy of this, because I think there was the Bushwhackers and someone else against another 3 guys. I can't remember the specifics of that one. There's Papa Shango was in action. Tatanka was there. I think there was another one, but I can't remember what the last match was. But I think there was 4 dark matches.
Oh, that would be cool. So Bushwhackers are fun. It'd be nice to watch them do some stuff.
We can find something on WWE Network for you.
Yeah, let's do it. Alright, then we go to Lord Alfred Hayes. He's still looking for Mr. Perfect. This time he's at the Ultimate Warrior's door, and he's saying, "This time I know the trick. I'm not going to knock. I'm just going to open the door."
Quick sidebar before that happens. So the Macho Man had literally looked like it printed Macho Man on the door.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Warriors one looked like it was coloured with paper and penciled in pencil. Coloured in pencil. That's not just me, right?
I didn't know.
It looked really cheap. You looked like, it was all white, and then you had like the blue edging and whatever, a little bit of colour in the middle. But it looked like someone had just scribbled it with a pencil quickly to make it look like his Ultimate Warrior's dressing room.
No, he doesn't have a door sign. We need it for the segment.
He might not have had his own locker room at that point.
Maybe not.
So.
Yeah. So Alfred Hayes goes to open the door, and it's immediately just like slammed back on his face.
You see a hand and
bam. And he says this is a vulgar display of rudeness. Even though he did try and go into someone's locker room, in someone's changing room, without knocking.
Oh,
Come on, Lord Alfred Hayes.
He's brilliant.
You can't talk about rudeness.
Yeah, he's great.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. So, it was, that doesn't mean Mr. Perfect isn't in there.
Just leaving it completely open.
Completely open. Which is good. It does keep that. You don't get a lot of actual surprises anymore in wrestling, and they kept it a surprise, even though I did call it pretty early on what the actual thing was, but it's okay.
Yeah, you kind of did, yeah.
Yeah. I have not written much about this next match at all.
Yeah, not surprised.
Repo Man versus Crush. I remember the ending. I don't remember anything else.
No, it was basically a filler. This would have been the equivalent of main events coming up. Take your pee breaks, get your beers, get your snacks. Not to rib on or sort of down on either man. But yeah, no, this was the filler.
Spot.
Yeah, this was the filler.
So yeah, I mean, Crush wins by submitting Repo Man with a head crush. So he's literally just crushing his head as it. I don't even know. I don't think head crush is the right word, and it's just
I'm not sure what the name of the move is.
But I did know this is the match that sort of made it clear that submissions are very different now.
There was no tapping out.
No tapping. So you mentioned that, was it
UFC?
UFC brought in tapping to get out. So it was literally just verbal I quit
or I submit.
Which I didn't notice Repo Man's mouth moving, but the ref's right there, so he's going to hear stuff, or he'd probably be able to call it if he felt like it was
kind of like we did with Virgil when he's getting choked out by Nailz.
Exactly. So that was quite interesting. Then we go to Mean Gene Okerlund, who's just a legend.
That's another legend, So many legends in this show, man.
So this is where we had the recap clips, not a package, of the story between Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior. So this is where we got the information about how the Mr. Perfect stuff came into it, and sort of he's been helping both of them at different times to basically throw the other one off, is what it looks like, and trying to sell his services.
It's like a red herring almost, isn't it? Or a bluff in poker.
It's like offering both of them and saying, because both of you want me to help you, the prices are going high. So keeping up that
facade almost.
And obviously Ric Flair is...
And again, Mr. Perfect, when you see him in the ring, he is just amazing to watch. Not that you'll see him particularly wrestle at this event, but I'm going to have to show you some Mr. Perfect. Like, there was a match, I remember, between him and Bret Hart. Oh, my God. So good. So good.
So then we have the main event. Although, this did confuse me.
Yeah.
It did confuse me because the main event is, like, in the middle of the card. What is that about? Did they just do that all the time?
No. I think it's the prestige of the British Bulldog coming in home to fight for the Intercontinental Championship. That was seen as the end of the show, the main event of the show, as it were. But the WWF Championship is always that highest prestige title, so that will always be the main event.
Yeah.
That's the way that I think they've kind of looked at it. But
bit weird.
It was
but,
a bit.
Right,
it was a
they
bit
made a choice.
I mean, just say it's one of the main events.
Yeah.
Like they do at WrestleMania
sometimes. It could have been a co-main event.
Yeah.
But no, it's like in the middle. But it was really good. We did comment how colourful it was. Because Ultimate Warrior's always got his colourful tassels and his face paint. And Macho Man had his very colourful, very early 90s kind of outfit with loads of colours on it. It was very NXT 2.0. I mean... Basically,
I hear no lies.
It's like a rainbow threw up on the ring, you know. But I mean, at least with this, it fits the time period.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's the whole other thing. So, Mr. Perfect is not there at all at this point, and so they start the match and they go in and it's good. It's a good match. I mean, how can it not be? It's Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ultimate Warrior was never the best wrestler. But... Sorry, excuse me?
Oh, sleep time.
When you're in the ring with someone like Macho Man Randy Savage, who is a consummate professional, has been in the business for probably the better part of 2 decades at this point. Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior
he definitely got the rub off Macho.
Angry face.
Yeah.
Like a permanent
It was the persona,
face.
It was the persona.
So they're going at it, and so partway through, out comes Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect. So like, ooh, who are they gonna help?
Gonna get some answers now.
And they stand like in the one spot where you stand where you're not in anyone's corner. So right in the middle of the hard cam. Right in the middle of the hard cam. So it's still like, who are they here? And now they're a distraction because both Warrior and Macho Man are going to be looking like he's going to start helping them.
Yeah, convinced it's the other guy that's brought him out. Yeah, because
if they know they haven't sold out, then it has to be
the other guy.
Oh, does it?
Da.
So we do have Mr. Perfect tripping Randy.
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason saying Randy just felt weird. I'm going to call Macho Man, not Randy.
Or Savage.
Savage. Yeah, so he trips Randy. Mr. Savage. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Randy Orton.
I know. That's why it feels weird.
Oh dear.
But he does then help Ultimate Warrior as well later on.
Yeah.
So basically, looks like neither of them are sold out. it's
then-
just there to mess with
But then the
people.
commentary team's like, oh, wait, he only tripped Savage. He hit Warrior. Savage bought him out. Savage is the... And that's obviously Bobby the Brain going nuts and obviously
Yeah.
trying to throw a bit of mix in the pot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And again, the commentary team is great. You wouldn't get that these days, I don't think.
No.
And I think that's part of the thing with a 3-man commentary team. It can get a bit messy.
Yeah, it can.
Whereas it's just 2 guys bumping off each other.
Yep.
I think the dynamic's much better.
It works well in AEW because they have a system where when they want to pass on the conversation, they'll say someone's name and then they know that they pick it up straight away. And it feels natural and works, but they don't have that in WWE.
You've got a colour guy, you've got a play-by-play guy, and you've got the intermediary.
Yeah. It
In
works.
AEW, and it works, yeah.
Because they have a system.
Because colour commentary is talking about everything that's kind of going on outside. The play-by-play guy
Yes.
knows all the moves and what's happening technically. And then the other guy kind of can do probably both, but he's kind of there to bridge the two.
Exactly. It
Mhm.
works. And
Yep.
it worked well back in WWF. We do have the best ref bumps I've ever seen in this
Earl
match.
was great at bumping, man. He was so good.
It looked brutal. And he goes flying out of the ring. I don't think he meant to go flying out of the ring. He just went.
Do you recognise the ref?
Yeah, I think so.
He's the one from the Montreal Screwjob.
That's right,
Bill
yeah.
Hebner. And then his brother is the one, Dave Hebner, who was trying to break up model Rick Martel and Shawn Michaels earlier in the day.
Yeah. They look very similar.
They're twins.
Yeah, that's right. So after the ref bump, when he's out, then you have Mr. Perfect holding Ultimate Warrior while Ric Flair punches him with, I think it was a knuckle duster or
I think
a
so,
ring
yeah. He
or
definitely had something, yeah. He's probably knuckle duster. That was the thing back then.
So that was the point where they felt like he must be helping Macho Man. Then we have Ultimate Warrior running the ropes, so he's going to do something to Macho Man, but Flair hits him in the back with a chair. Quite hard. Chair shots are hard back in WWF. There was headshots and all sorts in other matches.
This was before the concussions thing was
it was
prevalent.
tough. So then Macho Man figures it out, because obviously you're not going to hit someone with a chair who you're meant to be helping. So he works out that this is all a huge thing. So Macho Man attacks Ric Flair from the top rope, but doesn't land it because Ric's still got his chair.
Yeah.
Ric chair.
Ric Chair. Woo!
And it gets him out of the air. And that leads to Macho Man being counted out.
There's a really quick count as well.
It was. There's a lot of quick counts in this pay-per-view. I guess things were quicker, keeping up the pace and things for tension and pace. I said pace too many times. Now it sounds weird.
Pace.
So, yeah, Ultimate Warrior wins.
But
Champion's
advantage.
Randy Savage, I nearly said Orton, retains the championship. Flair and Perfect keep attacking Macho Man. Ultimate Warrior attacks Flair and chases him out of the arena.
With the chair.
Yeah.
Launches the chair. If he'd been about a metre over, he probably would have cracked some kid in the crowd.
Probably. Then they announced the decision. So Ultimate Warrior is not very happy, obviously. But what can you do? Macho Man takes the belt.
Well, you can't. No, Warrior.
Wrong. I've written it down wrong. Ultimate Warrior, having his resting angry face on, obviously, goes and gets the belt. Climbs into the ring, still looking angry, but then picks up Macho Man off the floor and raises his hand.
And puts the belt over his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a bit kind of half/full circle in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll explain. WrestleMania 6, okay? Hulk Hogan, WWF champion.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior, Intercontinental champion.
Mm-hmm.
Main event, Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan, winner takes all.
Mm-mm.
Ultimate Warrior wins. Hulk Hogan rolls to the outside, snatches the belt from the timekeeper, goes in the ring, gives it to Warrior. It's almost full circle for the Warrior at that point because he's doing the same for Savage.
Oh, I like it. I like this. It's those moments of
That was 3 years earlier.
sportsmanship, which you don't know which way it's gonna go until that last moment, and then you just get that wave of
because Warrior stood down, he's looking at it, and he's looking down at Sarah, he's looking at the belt.
Hit him with it.
I think even Ian's like, he's gonna wallop him with it.
Macho Man's great at selling.
Oh,
also.
Macho Man's amazing. Oof. Literally one of the very best to do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a great match. Really enjoyed it. Just the best doing what they're best at, and then Ultimate Warrior, but still doing a good job.
I mean, the thing is, like, Macho Man's very technical, but he can do some of the high-flying stuff. Warrior was just steamroll, bulldoze, that was his thing.
Yeah.
But even he started doing more technical stuff in this match because of Savage.
Yeah, because he had that security, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else about that match?
Nope.
Yeah. Cool.
I've written something else, but I can't read my own writing, so it's fine.
So we go out to the back to Mean Gene, who confronts Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect.
Woo!
And yells at them pretty much.
Oh, Gene would, yeah, you get right in there.
He's the only, like, I guess, interviewer.
Yeah.
Who I've seen who will, like, just yell at people. It's like, come on, guys, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's great, his character.
Gene Oakland was great.
Yeah,
There'll never
Howard
be
another
Finkel.
one like him.
You got Howard Finkel doing the ring announcements as well.
Yeah.
They were the dream team, both of them guys were just on point.
So, during this interview, basically, we end up with Flair calling out Macho Man because he wants to challenge for the belt, which they do call a belt because
this is pre-Vince being a banning words dick.
Yes. All right then. Next, Kamala versus the Undertaker.
Who's Undertaker's manager?
It's Paul Bearer.
Do you remember who Kamala's managers were?
Did he have Jimmy Hart as well? No.
Two guys. One that was featured on Young Rock.
Oh, I can't
Toilet
remember
eggs.
his name. His toilet eggs guy.
Harvey Whippleman.
Harvey Whippleman.
And Kimchi is the guy with the safari hat
Oh yeah,
on.
Kimchi.
From the depths of the Ugandan jungle is Kamala, and obviously he's like the explorer kind of.
Yeah, Kimchi's not a very good name, no. Yeah, I don't like it. Anyways,
And which variant Kamala was this?
This is the Moonbelly variant. That's a little Ms. and Mrs. reference for you there, or I guess a toy collectible reference.
A bit of both, I guess. Yeah. Bit of both.
Moonbelly variant. Kamala's huge.
He is, yeah.
He's massive.
He's probably about the same, almost the same size as Earthquake and Typhoon, maybe a bit smaller.
So I gather that his sort of character is he doesn't really understand wrestling or the rules or anything. He's just there to fight. And yeah, he's not going to stop.
There's been matches like with Kamala that I've seen from probably around the same time period where it's against Jobber Talent. It's an enhancement match, you know.
Yeah.
And Kamala sort of knocks them down and they're laying flat on their face, and he pins them, and the ref's like, and Kimchi and the Whitman are like, turn him over. So he gets up and he kind of rolls him straight back onto his front and pins him again. It's that kind of. It's kind of dumb. But it's also not in a sense, because someone who's living in a jungle isn't going to know what wrestling is. And they wouldn't speak English and know what's going on, you know. And it kind of worked.
Yeah.
And he did become a face. He became a bit of a fan favourite at some point.
Bet.
And he was well over with the kids, you know.
It's good stuff.
What did you say about Undertaker on this one?
Which bit? That he's got a big forehead.
The fact that his face doesn't look right because he hasn't got facial hair.
I think he looks much more handsome now than he did back then. Okay,
My mother's going to kill you.
He looks distinguished and rugged. Back then, he kind of looked a bit, I don't know, young.
Did you notice that he didn't have most of his tattoos at that point? He only had.
Notice,
if it's the one, he's only got the one on the inside of his forearm at that point. If I remember right.
Yeah.
I think it can't remember which forearm it was, but yeah, he hasn't got his tattoos at that point.
So yeah, the ending of this match was, I think it was Kimchi hits the Undertaker with his
helmet.
Yeah. Which results in a disqualification. And then Kamala just keeps on going because he doesn't realize it's over.
Yeah. But they tell him to go off the ropes and just splash him off the ropes because, you know, that's...
Yes. So I think He did a couple of. Did he do a couple of splashes?
Yeah, I think
He
there
did a
was
couple of splashes.
one
when
on the
Undertaker was
mat,
down.
one off the second rope, first rope, and then one off the second.
Yeah, and then I think he's going for another one, or he goes to the outside, and then Undertaker sits up.
Yeah.
And turns.
Very robotic, like, as you said.
It's just that instant turn, like he's been out of it, but he knows exactly where you are, and he's coming to get you.
It's like Under Terminator. The Undernator.
Basically. So then Kamala and his cronies panickedly start running to the back, and Undertaker just follows slowly as anything. But
you forgot about the hearse.
I forgot he came out. He came out in a hearse.
On a hearse.
On a hearse.
On the back of it.
Yes, he did. I think there was a coffin in it.
Yeah, there was.
There was a coffin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. It was fun to watch. Okay, so then we have the interview with British Bulldog, followed by an interview with Bret Hart. So you know what's coming next.
Is it Repo Man versus Crush Part 2?
No, what is coming next is the thing that we've all been waiting for.
It's
bagpipes.
Oh.
We have bagpipes.
Yeah.
Bagpipes are, I think, underrated as an instrument.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. The Balmoral Highlanders.
There we go.
They sing. I think it's Scotland the Brave. And I don't know. I mean, people always joke about bagpipes, but I think when they're played properly, they're quite a beautiful instrument.
I've seen. I can't remember the name of the person, but there's a lady on Instagram who plays bagpipes and does metal covers with bagpipes, and it's like
amazing.
What? And it's really cool.
Strange
really
instrument.
Cool.
But
do you think Drew can play bagpipes? Do you think he's going to come out to bagpipes?
I feel like I remember him having bagpipes at some point in the past, but I might be misremembering.
I can't remember that.
So they have those bagpipes being played, and then I guess the lead piper picks up another set of bagpipes, and out comes
Howard Finkel's like
special surprise.
Yeah, we've got a very special guest.
Rowdy Piper,
who can legit play bagpipes.
Yeah.
And it was legit one of the best in the world at one point.
I was really happy to see him.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to be there.
He looked great.
Yeah. It's like in his prime. Yeah. Comes out. He's got his kilt on. And he takes the spare bagpipes and joins in. And they all play
you can see
together.
his face. He's absolutely loving it.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love it.
And you know the weirdest thing of all? He's not from Scotland.
No.
He's like in Antarctica somewhere. Yeah. That's where he was born. I can't remember the name of the town, but...
I wonder if he must have some Scottish heritage.
Probably,
right?
yeah. I used to know this because I used to listen to his podcast when he was still with us, when he was still alive. And he did go into it, and I can't remember any of it for the life of me. Yeah. I remember he used to be one of the top in the world because he played in like competitions and stuff.
Yeah. And
he got really close to sort of winning, and I can't remember if he did go through or if he couldn't get there or something. But yeah, he was, yeah.
Oh, another sad loss.
Yeah.
All right, so bagpipes done, and then we have an interview with Diana Smith, who's in the crowd. She is British Bulldog's wife and Bret Hart's sister.
Talk about being caught in the middle.
I know. So it's a bit of an awkward interview, I feel like. She's probably quite genuinely emotional, as well as obviously she knows the business, so she's going to make sure it comes across to the crowd. But I feel like she was talking more than the interviewer wanted her to. It's quite funny because I thought we were watching SummerSlam 1992, not Rambling Man Festival. She did say a lot. Yeah. And the interviewer kind of cut her off a bit and asked the next question. And then she was still talking when the bell was ringing, and he was trying to hurriedly stop her. But I mean, she got the emotion across, and it's obviously quite even knowing the business. Mm-hmm. It's such a big chance that either men or both men could get injured. Yeah, absolutely. And she loves them both because they're both their family. Well, she's married to one and she's blood married to the other one, yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So then we start the match for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. British Bulldog versus Bret Hart. It's the most well-known version of that belt as well, that classic belt. With the glory on it. That's such a beautiful belt. It's very good. Yeah. So British Bulldog comes out, but leading the way is someone called Lennox Lewis, who I've never
She's too
heard
young
of.
to remember Lennox Lewis. Yeah.
Apparently, he's some boxing guy.
He was huge in the boxing world.
He got some championships or something.
Well, he beat Mike Tyson.
Yes. Done something to my notes. So he's carrying the flag, the British flag.
Surprised they didn't have Matilda there. I'm not sure if Matilda might have died at that point though. Matilda being the Bulldog.
Oh yeah, I
so
remember
when Dynamite
Bulldog.
Kid was in the British Bulldogs with the British Bulldog, that's how many times you say British Bulldog in one sentence. They had a Bulldog and it was called Matilda, and they used to have her come to the ring and.
It's such a good name for a Bulldog.
She might have died by that point.
Oh, bless.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lennox Lewis, and then he goes off to, I don't know, watch, I suppose. And then they have their match, and it's real good. It's a very good match, and the emotion comes across, and the storytelling, and you get a lot of the camera going to Diana with her.
Yeah, like
worried
the
face.
inset picture, like picture-in-picture job.
Yeah, just like biting her lip. Like.
I'd forgotten how sharp and stiff Bret Hart's elbows to the face looked.
Ooh.
Like some of them looked like they were like seriously just whack.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh.
They might have been.
But I guess the thing is that they probably spend a lot of time with each other.
Yeah.
And they can probably just practice and be like, yep, I know the limits, just go for it more or not,
definitely.
yeah.
The chemistry is crazy. It's so good. So, I mean, the finish was, I don't know, it took me by surprise.
It comes out of nowhere, literally.
So, I think I blinked as well, which doesn't help. But from what I gather, Bret Hart was rolling up Bulldog.
He was trying to do a sunset flip roll up kind of pin.
And then British Bulldog sort of reversed it into a smaller roller.
He just kind of drops to his knees, grabs his legs, and leans forward with it.
The tightest roll up you'll ever see.
And that sound of the ref counting on the canvas with that echo on the mat.
It's so good. So obviously Bulldog wins. The crowd goes wild.
As Pat Patterson would say, the crowd go banana.
And they really did, because obviously, being in the UK, this is their guy, it's our guy. He's wearing the Union flag or Union Jack, I don't care. It's the same thing, whether it's on a boat or not, so everyone can just shut up about it.
Wow!
It annoys me, okay? It's upside down. Yeah, he's got the flag, he's the British guy, and he wins, he's got that championship, and it's just like a huge moment. You've got then Bret Hart looking like he's going to leave the ring.
Looks like someone's peed in his cornflakes.
He's not happy.
Just sat on the mat and he's like...
British Bulldog puts his hand out for a handshake. Bret tries to leave. Everyone boos.
Yeah.
Then he comes back in. Hand out for another handshake from Bulldog. Goes to leave again. Bigger boos. And then they have a handshake and a hug.
Yay!
And Diana comes in and hugs them both and is crying and they're kissing and lots of tears. And then there's fireworks, like inside the stadium fireworks. Very cool. It's lovely. I don't know, it's that fanfare. It really felt like a main event. Whatever they say, this is the main event.
Yeah. That match won Pro Wrestling Illustrated's top match of the year.
I bet. It was
and it's still,
really
that's one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Holds up, for sure.
So friggin' good.
Yeah, so that was SummerSlam 92.
And it's great, because like all you see these days is finisher, win, finisher, win, finisher, kick out, another finisher, win. And it's like, come on, really?
Yeah.
And in this one you had Animal obviously having to abruptly end that match because of Hawk's state, so he just literally slams. I think it's DiBiase took the pinfall and he pins him, and then you got Bulldog doing this, and there's a couple of count outs, there's a disqualification, a little bit of everything on this.
Yeah,
you know, and that's great. It's really well rounded.
It was really good. So some differences that I kind of noticed. Obviously, we've talked about not many ads. We've talked about the air horns.
Yeah,
I hate them. It's just constant. Main event being in the middle, which is weird. Lots of promos, but very few recaps. Counts being faster.
I prefer the promos thing, and that's the thing in Lost Art these days, is that everything was so heavily scripted with Vince around.
Yeah.
And back then it wasn't.
No. And it was like on the fly. They had to
Yeah.
really be able to think of those witty things. And it's where we get all the stupid things, like, I can't remember what the guy said. The things that don't make sense, but then make you laugh.
Yeah. Oh, Scott Steiner with the math. Yeah. Oh,
that would never happen now, because they scripted out too much.
But then, like, if he was scripting everything, there's absolutely no way that Austin 316 happens.
No.
Absolutely no way, because he came up with that. He ad-libbed it on the spot.
It's a lost art. Maybe it'll come back.
Maybe, I hope so. I hope so. Triple H is a product of that era. So.
Yeah. The ring's smaller, right?
Nope.
Smaller? No?
Same size.
Are the guys bigger?
I think it's 18. But well, you look at someone like Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, maybe
the only thing closest to that in these days is probably Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, that's very true.
Think of that.
The ring just felt smaller somehow. I know the ropes are slacker.
It's probably the colours.
Yeah,
it's probably the different coloured ropes.
It's an optical illusion.
Mm-hmm.
I think. And then the other difference, apart from the main one, which I'll go into now, is the lack of women's wrestling. So the only women that we could see here was Sherri and Diana. So it was the Wives and Girlfriends Club. The WAGs. But that's
the old ball and chain club.
This was before a huge development in the company where they brought in the divas and then the women's division.
After this, it was a couple of years after this, they did start some women's wrestling. There was only a handful of them. Medusa was one of them. What were they calling this? Alundra Blaze.
Yeah.
Then she went to WCW with her belt and she threw it in a trash can in WCW. It's her, it's Medusa, and I think that's where Vince kind of went, right, screw women's wrestling.
Yeah. That's what we get for having women wrestling.
Until Attitude Era started, and then obviously you had Sable come in, and Tori, and Trish, and Lita, and all these amazing talents, and they started wrestling. It was great.
Yeah.
And that it kind of spiraled up from that, and it is to what we've got today. So
baby steps, and then we got something.
Yeah. It's almost like when it's a cold in the morning, you turn in the car over, and you try it, and it doesn't work. So you leave it for a minute. You try it again, it doesn't work. And then that last time you click in, that's what we're currently in, when that engine is currently revving up.
So you have to have the right audience, the right... The right women.
The right mindset, the right women.
Yeah, attitude towards it all. I think the main thing that I noticed that's different from wrestling today in WWE was it looks more raw and more natural. Whether it's partly because of the whole, they didn't have the concussion safety stuff yet, but it felt
I wouldn't
more...
even say that.
Not even just headshots, just everything felt more like they were going for it.
Yeah.
And now it's quite obvious where it's sort of choreographed or, that kind of thing.
You've got, you obviously had, like, some people, like Bulldog, when he was there, he was, like, calling for his running power slam. That was it. It's not 3, 2, it's none of that,
Yeah.
And it's not running around from corner to corner and post to post and rope to rope all the time. It's quite slow. It's methodic.
Yeah.
When was the last time in current product did you see someone put a sleeper hold in the middle of the ring on someone and hold it?
It's always like a transition to something else if they do a sleeper hold.
Mm-hmm. Back in those days, there wasn't a lot of cardio. I mean, there probably was, but it wasn't to the effect that it is today. So you had these big muscular guys who would gas and blow up so quick.
Yeah, so you need to slow things down.
Sleep a hold on, right, take a breather.
Yeah.
30-second break. And they catch their wind again. Not only that, but if you look carefully, you can see Bret angling his head into Bulldog the back of it. And he's talking.
Yeah. I don't know, some things worked better in the old days, that's what I'm saying.
So, if you had the chance, right, let's say you're new to this and I showed you SummerSlam 92 and SummerSlam 2022, okay? Which one are you more likely to go, ooh, I want to watch more of that? Which product? WWF or today's WWE?
It's difficult because there are elements in current WWE that I like the women's wrestling. And it's a higher production value as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. But then that's a product of the time. They didn't have that technology.
I actually wrote down, and this might sort of answer it, I can see why people believed in kayfabe. I can see why it was a thing because it looks real. It's real to me, damn it. So I probably go back to WWF.
I think that for me, I would definitely I'd love to be able to go back and relive those with that. It's almost like I read it actually, quite funny, slight tangent is I saw an article of Peter Jackson and obviously he spent 10 years or so making, or 5 years filming, making 10, whatever it was, making Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He has never sat down and watched those films because he's seen so much of it that he wouldn't get the enjoyment out of sitting there from start to finish.
Yeah.
He actually went to a hypnotist to see if they could erase the memory of the films
so he could experience
it. He didn't go through with it.
That's sad.
But imagine being able to do that for something like this. Go back to that era and watch it, because we got the WWE Network. We can watch it straight through. Or what's up now? Primetime, Superstars, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, all the events, and watch it with fresh eyes.
Really
you know, and I think that'd be really cool. And I've got that nostalgia kick because obviously I grew up with that and the Attitude Era.
And back then you had like the WrestleMania song, so you don't get that these days. I love that tune.
Yeah.
So yeah, SummerSlam 1992.
So, gonna start something new on this show.
Oh.
And this is going to put you on the spot. This is going to be quite fun. So, you watched it through, you enjoyed it. It's not a pop quiz, don't worry. You watched it through, start to finish. You said you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this pay-per-view? And I'm saying pay-per-view because it was a pay-per-view. Scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
It obviously had its ups and downs, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
I'd probably stick it at a 7.
7? Cool.
At the moment, if it's the first one we're doing, it's hard. You haven't got anything to
yeah.
by.
But I'm just kind of going by what you enjoyed and what you've seen for the last sort of 4.5 years of watching the product now. So a 7?
A strong 7.
Cool. I think I'd probably give it an 8.
Ooh.
Again, I've got that nostalgia though.
Yeah, so nostalgia factor.
I think Nailz and Virgil was out of place.
Yeah.
And Repo Man and Crush. I get the story between Nailz and Virgil. Obviously with the Big Boss Man and stuff, there wasn't really a build-up or anything to Repo Man and Crush. It just felt like it was thrown in there.
Yeah, the filler match. You gotta have some, I guess.
And Taker and Kamala was obviously more leading. It's a lead-in match, so obviously it was where they had the casket match.
There were so many matches. It felt like a really packed card, didn't it?
8 matches, 2 hours 45.
What happened?
I don't know. Nowadays, you get 8 matches at WrestleMania and it's 5 hours long.
It's ads and filler and stuff.
Ads, filler, promos, more ads, more promos. Buy our shirts.
Commercialism.
Yep. Oh, that was Rags, I think.
Rags is
okay.
Awake.
So take us home, Leanne.
Thank you all so much for watching. This has been our SummerSlam 92 reactions video. We'll have more content coming up soon. So
if you're watching in the future, this is 1992, not 2092.
Ooh, that's. I don't want to think about 2092. We'll have all sorts of disasters by then.
It's 70 years away.
Ooh. Please like this video if you liked it. Leave a comment down below. Were you at SummerSlam 92 or do you wish you could have been there? What would you rate it out of 10 as a pay-per-view? Let us know in the comments or let us know on social media. Our details are in the description below, so give us a follow and keep an eye out for updates and stuff. Subscribe to the channel.
Rags.
When you subscribe to the channel, Rags appears.
He's like, subscribe to SummerSlam. I was there at SummerSlam, he said.
Yeah, sure. Subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when we drop new videos. And until next time, there's some good wrestling out there. Go watch it.
Yeah, honestly, WWE Network, $9.99 a month. We're not sponsored by WWE.
No.
I pay it. I literally have since the inception in the UK. And it's fantastic. All the old stuff you can watch on is amazing. I'm currently in the process of watching Superstars and Raw from 93 onwards in order, because I've never seen all of the Raw episodes. And I'm kind of watching that. And then when I get to the point where I'm up to in WCW, I'm going to supplant that in and watch it almost like the Monday Night Wars is happening again.
He's getting all that wrestling in his veins. And you can too.
Don't do that. That's bad. Don't do that.
Don't do that. All right then. Bye-bye.